every movement. They are the special players who forever alter the course of NBA history, pushing the game to its limits and beyond. Milestones, NBA's record breakers. Dr. James Naismith fathered a new sport. But astonishingly, archaeological findings whose origins predate Naismith's birth by nearly 15 centuries show that an advanced civilization of Mayan Indians engaged in a contest that was an unmistakable precursor to the game we now know as basketball. Absent then were the prolific scorers of our modern era. For though scoring was literally a do-or-die situation, the game's final tally was always 1-0, with the captain of the losing team customarily beheaded. These days, the stakes aren't quite as high, and the scores aren't quite as low, as a legion of spectacular offensive performers now light up NBA scoreboards with the greatest of ease.
It's like you're shooting and you're putting your hand in the basket, and as it goes through, you're taking your hand out.
He can't stop you. He can't stop you, Irvin. He can't stop you.
And in this new age of basketball, these explosive scorers stalk their opponents with a seemingly limitless arsenal of offensive weaponry.
I get the ball. You're at mercy of whatever I want to do. I can actually do anything I want.
I play to have that one moment out there where I just take over the game and I know I got control of everything that goes on out there.
Bird takes Rambis. 1 second. It's
In the NBA's inaugural season in 1946, the league's first super scorer was Jumpin' Joe Fultz. And immediately, the Philadelphia forward left his mark on the record books, becoming the first player to score over 1,000 points in one season.
Well, I do know that you had an all-time record, 1,611 points your first year. That's 23-plus average per game. Brother, that's really a lot of points.
But Fultz was not the only impact player of his era. Minneapolis's imposing center, George Mikan, also showed an eye for the hoop as he utilized his tireless work ethic to capture 3 consecutive scoring titles.
My philosophy of playing was do the best you can do at all times so you have no regrets. I hear a lot of guys say, oh, I could have done better. I couldn't do any better. I may have made 4 points, may have made 50 points, but that was the best I can do at that time.
But a lot more goes into a World's Championship than just individual talent.
With brawny Vern Mickelson and a talented supporting cast playing behind Mikan, the Lakers brought Minneapolis the NBA's first dynasty by winning 3 straight World Championships. Overmatched by the powerful Lakers, opponents took to stalling, a tactic which resulted not only in history's lowest scoring game, but also in a major rule change.
And the good news of that whole deal is that that was the game that precipitated the use of the 24-second clock.
The league's newest innovation ushered in a different style of play, one whose faster pace not only had fans flocking to arenas, but also grabbed the media's attention. The time was right for the emergence of another celebrated superstar. Wilt Chamberlain entered the NBA in 1959 and promptly took center stage, capturing an unprecedented 7 consecutive scoring titles. But it was in one fateful game that perhaps Wilt's most monumental feat was performed, an accomplishment all the more staggering considering the contest was never completed.
But that's one of maybe the few games in the history of the NBA that never, ever finished. It was still 46 to 50 seconds on that clock when I scored 100 points. But since that's all the fans wanted and the officials felt like that was enough to said the game was over.
The historical night was over, but Chamberlain had only begun as he went on to shatter every conceivable scoring record.
The Big Dipper becomes the highest scoring player in the history of the National Basketball Association. Retired Bob Pettit had been tops in this department until Wilt broke the record against the Detroit Pistons at Charleston, West Virginia on February 14th. You might say Wilt played his heart out that night.
After dominating offensively for 9 inspiring seasons with the Warriors and the 76ers, Wilt joined the LA Lakers and began gaining notoriety for other facets of his game. Meanwhile, in Milwaukee, a young Lou Alcindor boldly set about seizing the title of basketball's most prolific scorer. Armed with the most devastating offensive weapon.
Gets it back from John McLaughlin. He wheels it back onto the left. Turnaround skyhook from 6. It's good! And Milwaukee now leads the ball game.
Skyhook was thought up by Eddie Doucette, who wanted to describe my shot to the fans that were listening on the radio in Milwaukee. Whatever your shot is, you have to have it at a point where you can rely on it. It requires constant maintenance. And I've always tried to keep it sharp.
Kareem's skyhook is, to me, synonymous with the cruise missile. You know, I mean, there's only one of them. And when we get in dire straits, you'll see Irvin Johnson or myself do one thing, and that is put the fist in the air.
Kareem being leaned upon by Lane Beard. Kareem backing in, swinging that shit right 12-footer. That's good.
In his 15th season, Jabbar and his majestic hook were poised to make history as Wilt's once seemingly insurmountable all-time scoring record was now within reach.
And here comes the big guy, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
If he plays like he did in the first quarter, he'll have the record by halftime.
Magic walks it to the right side. 7 minutes left, third quarter. Inside of Kareem. Double up, swing the sky hook. Yes! And the fans love it. Magic right side. Kareem post up. They go to Kareem. Kareem backs in. Hook shot. It's up. It's good. It's good. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. 31,420 points for the greatest center in modern basketball history. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Time's bizarre world of the NBA. It is always prudent to expect the unexpected. Because the strange magic that can suddenly seize entire teams in its grip rarely gives warning and can almost never be explained. When the Denver Nuggets and the Detroit Pistons took the floor early in the 1984 season, both teams got off to a torrid start. But little did they know that 370 points and 3 overtimes later, they would wearily enter the record books, having played the highest scoring game in NBA history.
There was a lot of running up and down the floor, and it seemed like nobody could miss.
Up by Dunn, the band away, and Anderson up and in. Here comes Isaiah on the right. Isaiah stop and go.
It got to be everyone's in such a groove shooting. I think there were 3 guys who scored over 50 points in the game.
Here come the Pistons. Spinning down the lane. Finney running. Right-hander, yes. Right lane, up and in.
Up by 2 with seconds remaining, Denver thought the game was over. It wasn't.
He bangs it off the iron. Isaiah rebounds up and in.
In fact, the fun was only beginning, as Denver took the lead again in the first overtime and again saw it slip away.
We are tied at 159.
2 overtimes later, Detroit would ultimately triumph. But fittingly, the final score was not decided until the final buzzer.
The Pistons win this thing in Denver.
Both teams were wiped out for about 3 days. I think both teams lost about 3 or 4 in a row straight.
3 years later in Los Angeles, the Sacramento Kings fell under a different sort of spell, while the Lakers reeled off 29 points to begin the game. The Kings reeled off none. And though their bewitched state lasted only a period, their first quarter tally of only 4 points set the standard for futility.
It was unbelievable for them as well as us to be up, what, 29-0?
But ironically, though the Kings are history's most helpless in 12 minutes, they are its most prolific in 5, having piled up 24 points in a single overtime in the 1990 season.
You know, the game against Houston.
Look out below. Antoine Clark. Upper rainbow shot, no good. But Craig with the skip, yes.
No NBA arena has seen more miracles than Boston Garden, the shrine of Celtic success, whose fabled leprechauns seem to help one team find the secret of invincibility.
Everybody's personalities add to the team, and that's what makes us a good team, is there's 12 individual personalities, but they all mesh together and they all blend together, and you become somewhat of a family.
Led by Larry Bird, the 1986 version of the Celtic family defended their home like no other team in history, posting an astounding 40-1 record in their own arena. They added a new chapter to Celtic lore and to the NBA record books.
The only thing I can say for this team is that if there's any other team that was any better, them guys on our team would be very proud of what they accomplished, because we felt we had a pretty good basketball team.
In the decade of the 60s, the Lakers searched in vain for the secret of the Celtics' magic elixir of success.
After so many years of getting so close and of losing to Boston in 6 or 7 games, I mean, every year Boston seemed to beat us.
And with Elgin Baylor's retirement early in the 1972 season, time seemed to have passed L.A. by.
You got a shot before you complete the play? Take it.
But with Coach Bill Sharman preaching a new philosophy, this Laker team would make a crucial adjustment. While Wilt Chamberlain would remain their primary weapon, these Lakers would use a more balanced attack. And as the victories mounted, they began to realize that the elusive winning formula was finally theirs.
No one can beat us. And we went along and went along and went along. 1 month went by, 2 months went by. All of a sudden, it's 2.5 months, we haven't lost a basketball game. And it got to be almost funny because we knew no one could beat us.
As we got into the beginning of the winning streak, the real confidence that we had as a team, we walked out on the court and we knew we were going to win.
We did not have this awesome talent, but we played well together. Bill Sharman, who was an incredible winner, instilled within us something that we needed. And when you win 33 games in a row, when you go 2.5, 3 months without losing a game, and against teams that really are superior to you, for that Laker team to do what they did, I still think that they did more in the game of basketball than any other team for the talent that they had.
Running off an unprecedented 33-game win streak en route to a record 69-win season and a world championship, the Lakers completed their magical transformation into one of history's greatest teams.
When I look back on that year, we should have probably only lost 6 or 7 games that whole year. That team was not going to be denied.
Hola, my name is Tisha Panachera. A lot of people know me because of the fancy passing, and that's definitely my trademark.
Did you see that pass by Panachera?
I grew up in Figueira da Foz, Portugal, and had a basketball court right outside of my house. I never expected to be right here playing the WNBA with those great players, great crowd. And now that I'm a part of it and the ball is in my hands,
Oh, Panachera! That's what they came to see.
this is like a dream.
Chasing history. Catch key games plus all the news every night on ESPN and ESPN2. From the Wednesday night doubleheaders to Baseball Tonight to SportsCenter, we're on top of McGuire, Sosa, and every other story in baseball. With key games, live cut-ins, and continuous updates. It's the most exciting race in baseball, maybe ever. And now through the end of the season, simultaneous Wednesday night doubleheaders on ESPN and ESPN2.
Unlike the block shot, the steal is achieved less with force than with finesse. requiring careful patience and exquisite timing. It's a triumph not only of nimble hands, but also a nimble mind. No one has embodied these qualities more than Maurice Cheeks, who, throughout the years, has used his self-effacing, reflective style to quietly pick more pockets than any other player in history.
You have to gamble. You have to kind of set them up, but I think the most important thing is anticipation. In most cases, you kind of pick on a big guy to kind of steal the ball. You know, usually when he's passing the ball or he's blindsided.
The owner of over 2,000 career thefts. This modest man of steel pulls further away from all competition with every game. It is at playoff time, however, where individual achievements become legend, and record-setting performances are the mark of champions. Here, an elite group rises above the rest in their quest for greatness, standing alone not only in their record-breaking efforts, but also in the intensity of their desire.
It takes your best game, offensively and defensively, and then it takes more than that.
In the 1984 playoffs, Bernard King would deliver exactly that.
I was hungry to win a title, you know, as every player is hungry to win it. And so when we went into the playoffs, you know, I felt that I was going to have to take a greater deal of responsibility and load on my shoulders.
And here's King with Benson. Bernard takes it to the hoop.
The Knicks' strategy was simple. Give the ball to Bernard.
King once again, and he has now scored the Knicks' last 9 points.
But King was merely warming up.
For King, and he beats Propuka, yes! And Bernard King has established a new NBA record, 23 consecutive points.
I was at the point I was beside myself. I would say we tried at least 3 or 4 people, and in many instances doubling people, but it really didn't make any difference because he was going to get his no matter what.
King would go on to average more than 40 points a game against the Pistons, smashing Elgin Baylor's 5-game playoff scoring record, and in the decisive 5th game, single-handedly beating them in the clutch.
I guess the ball game was tied up, and you know, clock was running down, and we called a timeout, and Hubie was designing a play, and I asked Hubie, I said, I was supposed to get the ball on inbounds, and then we were supposed to go into play. I said, Hubie, if I think I can take it, can I take it myself?
We never had to worry with the Knicks at that time who was going to take the last shot because he wanted that last shot.
Here's King moving on.
I don't recall a whole word, but he said, come on and take it.
Here's King over Jordan. Yes! Bernard King has given it.
I've been around Bernard King when he has played big. But in that playoff, in that 4th quarter, and then into the 5th quarter, Bernard King just would not let us lose.
Though records seem made to be broken, the memories of great performances are destined to endure. In the quiet pregame of Game 5 of the 1962 finals, Boston seemed strangely anxious. But as game time approached, their vague unrest would take shape in the person of Elgin Baylor. All eyes were riveted on the Lakers' explosive forward, as he always seemed to save his best for his longtime nemesis. Great players perform to expectations. Baylor would exceed them.
How about carrying the ball, Mendy, one time, huh?
Celtic strategy was useless, as Baylor was simply unstoppable.
The thing I remember most about that game was that Elgin Baylor had been so good, he fouled everyone out, all the forwards out.
5 guys, get me the ball. Don't let anybody go after the ball.
But the ball belonged to Baylor.
I remember the game very well because, you know, the crowd have always been responsive to me and the Lakers there. It's the fact that I scored 61 points, but they won the series.
Though victory would ultimately belong to the Celtics. An indelible place in NBA history belonged to Baylor.
Elgin was that spectacular where he literally became the first guy that couldn't be stopped. Regardless of defensive pressure, he was going to get his points. Now there are a lot of players like that because the offensive skills in the last 20 years have gone through the ceiling in basketball.
Whether you enjoy working out in the afternoon sun, keeping up with your kids as they run all over town,
working up a sweat, swinging to the beat of the music,
or even playing a little one-on-one.
Find time to be active. The reward isn't just a strong body, but a healthy way of life.
Hi, I'm Grant Hill, professional basketball player for the Detroit Pistons. You know, when I get thirsty, I reach for Sprite. You see, Sprite refreshes me like nothing else because it's the only drink with that cool, crisp, refreshing taste that satisfies even my manliest thirst. Yep, that's Sprite for you.
Drink Sprite because you like it, not because an athlete says he does.
Contrasting styles. Rice against Purdue. The Owls want to run. The Boilermakers take to the air.
Rice versus Purdue. Saturday at noon on ESPN.
Through the ceiling and out into the air. In 1989, Michael Jordan would shatter Bernard King's mark for points in a 5-game playoff series. 3 years earlier, he had also swept aside Baylor's single-game playoff mark, shattering the record on the same floor on which Elgin had set it.
Jordan trying to fake first.
When I'm on my game, when I'm really on like I was in Boston, I don't think it's too many people that can stop me. I don't think it's anybody can stop me.
Drive across the lane, turnaround shot, got it! 63 for Jordan! A new NBA record has been set in the Boston Garden.
The time was right for me to do that. CBS game, everybody's watching, you're playing the Celtics. So it was a great scene set. All I had to do is go in and perform and act.
But no one puts on more of a show at playoff time than Irvin Johnson. Dishing out more assists than any other player in playoff history, Magic has electrified audiences coast to coast. But it is his unsurpassed desire that has made him one of history's greatest winners.
I want to win. And that's why I play, because I want to win. Not just to be playing, not just to make a lot of money. I want to win. And I'm not settling for nothing less than winning.
It is another Laker, Hall of Fame guard Jerry West, who owns the postseason's highest scoring average for a single series. But it was not just scoring 46 points a game that earned West his nickname, Mr. Clutch.
You know, I accomplished an awful lot as a player, and I'm very proud of what I accomplished, but rewards come from within, and they mean a lot more when they come from within.
It was an attitude he shared with teammate Pat Riley. West would become the Lakers' general manager. Riley, its coach.
And I'm guaranteeing everybody here, next year we're going to win it again.
In his quest for back-to-back titles, Riley's efforts earned him the most postseason wins of all time. But when it comes to savoring the sweet taste of victory, no one has surpassed Red Auerbach.
Well, Red
I think, was a basketball genius. What Red would do was make you contribute ideas. He would make you think.
Well, once we get it, then run, okay? Let's step into him. Come on, Stash, keep Hawkins up. Let's go.
So just by his presence, there's some kind of roar about him that makes you play harder.
It is an aura built on a legacy of unmatched success.
When I look around at all those flags up there, I really feel really great because they mean more to me than flags. They mean people. They mean paying the price for victory.
Although time passes even the greatest players by, the milestones endure.